The next session is going to be a swift drift into cloud. Yeah, cloud. What are we doing there? What exactly are we drifting into? We need to know what exactly we are drifting into, basically in the cloud. So Slick will be handling that for us. Yeah. So before I move, let me just quickly do a brief introduction of that. It's coming up. Yeah. Okay. No, yeah. Sorry, I guess there is a lag here with that. Yeah. So Slick Shola is a software engineer and tech community manager, and also the organizer of GDG Akoko. Yeah, he's one of the organizers of GDG Akoko, and we are glad to have you as our organizer over the years. With over 6 years of experience, he is the founder of Code Innovation, a unified technology-driven platform dedicated to closing the technology talent gap in Africa, with more focus on kids and the girl child. Yeah. He has trained over 5,000 teenagers and youth in digital skills and opportunities. He's presently building community with Google's GDG, JetBrains, Kotlin, and Code Innovation. Slick, we are glad to have you on the call. Are you there already? Okay. So we're glad to have you on the call this evening.
Yeah.
And we believe to like drift us well into cloud computing and what it's all about. We can't wait to have you. Over to you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, SK. And thanks for having me at the same time. So I must say I'm really super excited to be with you guys today. And I must say it's a pleasure once again to see your face on the screen. And today I'll be taking you a bit into cloud and cloud computing as well too. So I'm always excited when I'm on the screen with people and the community at large actually. So it's an amazing time again to actually see what we're doing, and it's actually going to be amazing. So we have very less of time. We're running out of time already. So I'll just like take about 12 minutes of your time. So maybe today I'm actually going to be a bit of a DJ slicky thing on my slides. So I have about 50 slides or maybe probably 50 musics, and I'm actually going to slide through with it in a DJ form. So due to timing, so welcome. It's to drift into cloud computing. So we're actually going to learn what is cloud. So I need to take you guys to the cloud and know what's going on. So you can actually drop comments. If you see me, my audio is clear enough, you can let me know. If you have any glitches, you can just drop it in the comments. I'm watching through, so I'll be there to attend to you while the section goes on. So to my next slide, that's my topic, and my name is Slick. So moving on. So SK, can you take me to my next slide? Okay, next slide. So so it's two different the Google Cloud Platform. We're actually going to talk about what Google Cloud Platform is, and at the same time, we're going to go through what we get to know about Google Cloud Platform. So meet me. I have already been introduced, so I will just skip this slide and go straight to the points because of the time. So we're going to be fast with the slide. So in my next slide, so we're going to be covering what the heck is cloud, forms of cloud computing, maybe not everything, Google Cloud Computing, GCP core infrastructures. We'll not be able to do lab demo today, and we'll probably talk about the future at the same time. So you can actually follow on these sections or connect with me via on Twitter or other platform at Meet Slick, and you could ask me questions due to timing. So yeah, so there's no cloud, it's just someone else's computer. So a lot of people get this misconception that there is actually no cloud and it's just someone else's computer, which is actually not true. And in my next slide, I'll tell you why it's not actually true. It's actually go beyond what what cloud is, and it's just someone else's computer. In a logical manner, you could actually check if cloud is another someone else's computer, but trust me, it's far go beyond that. So we're going to see in definition in that slide, definition of cloud computing. So different people will actually have a different definition for cloud. What the heck is cloud? And you see some people, student, IT pro, and etc. will have their own definitions. But the main, most popular one, accepted one, is actually on-demand computing resources delivered to you over the internet. And these are things you actually have access to. I know one or the other way, we are always trying to connect with cloud, which we don't know. We have connected with cloud maybe via your Gmail, via your Google search. In one way, you have connected with cloud in different ways. And these are actually very amazing way you could actually connect with cloud more, which you don't know. So these are demanding, these are computing resources that is being delivered to you over the internet. Just like you have access of things on your pictures on Google Photos, you have your files on Google Drive as well too. So those are simple basis of cloud computing, which you actually tend to understand. And in another mind's language, you say a computing service created traditionally locally that is on premises and is now being transferred to your platform off premises. So we have virtual assistants, just like we say, like Google Assistant, like Joshen said earlier on. We see things around cloud computing in virtual assistants, cashless payments, cloud computing, and IoT, machine learning, and all that, which makes it more amazing around us. So cloud is always all around us. So in the next slide, you see just a brief of how security conscious you have to be when you're actually acting on cloud. Slow access to data. You have to know potential unknown cost of your cloud computing. So you have to be awake of the cloud or infrastructure you are using. That's why we recommend Google Cloud Infrastructure, which security is actually very amazing, and your stuffs can be backed up. You could have good security access, firewalls, and all that, which makes it amazing as well too. So moving on. So cloud infrastructures, we have private clouds, we have hybrid cloud, and we have public cloud. What I mean by private cloud? Private clouds are infrastructures being created on premises, or maybe by your organizations or by you individuals. You build your virtual machines on premises, and you could able to access it. Only you can access it. Google can access it. People can access it, or only people in your organizations on your premises that you have access to. So those are on premises clouds, and that's our private cloud. So let me go to public cloud. Public clouds are actually cloud infrastructures that are being created off resources, just like off premises, just like we have the Amazon, the Microsoft Azure, the Google Cloud Platform. Those are public cloud platforms that you could actually connect off premises, and you could connect to it on premises as well too. So hybrid doesn't exist. Private cloud exists. Hybrid public exists, but hybrid doesn't exist. Hybrid is the combination of both your private cloud and your public cloud. So you could actually decide to host your common files or your database on your private cloud. You don't want Google or anybody else to have access to your database, and you could put your other resources on the public cloud, which is Google Cloud Platform and all that. So we have SaaS, and we have PaaS, and we have IaaS. So we have software as a service, basically services you use like Gmail and all those platforms you actually use. While we have PaaS as developers have access to things they actually want to build on the go. So the Google infrastructure platforms has been configured for you when you're using platform as a services. Why infrastructure as a service are basically for IT hubs, dev hubs, whereby you have access to things like App Engine, Google Kubernetes, that's GKE, App Engine, etc. Even Microsoft, Amazon, Azure, and all that. So depending on whatever you want to use in the cloud computing, so you can actually decide to. SaaS is something you use every day, like you use a Google Drive, use your other platforms which you actually use every day. But other ones that which you don't use every day, things like your apps, and your everything you actually do, which makes it more amazing whatever you do. So moving on to the next slide. So typically we have an environment whereby you could actually do some amazing stuff like visualized environment, development frameworks, databases, and more other things, and on your platform as a service, which makes it really, really amazing. So next slide. Sorry, I have to be fast because of time. So it's just a brief, and I could share my slide and you could have more time to actually go through this. So moving on to virtual machine. Virtual machines are basically software-based instance of physical services, physical server where guest operating system have access to emulated virtual device. What do I mean by this? Virtual machines are just like a virtual operating system, virtual computers. The virtual just your virtual laptop in another way, just like you have your operating system as a service now. So these are virtual machines whereby things are, or a laptop somewhere else, let me use in that word, where your Windows operating systems, every other things are being installed and could be easily accessed at a go. Moving on to the next slide. So next slide, just time. So I'll just start to talk about virtualization as a service. Just like I said, loaded in operating system and Windows computers. So you could actually do some installations like you want your Mac OS, your computers, your OS, and everything on it. Next slide. So moving on. So we have scalability and externality, which make virtualization amazing. Resource sharing and pooling, load balancing, and portability and cloning as well too. So another part of cloud computing, which I've actually mentioned earlier on, we have virtualization, we have the container, and we will have the serverless later on. So the container, for example, of containers are the popular Google Kubernetes, JKE, and Docker, which runs in a single node. So a container is actually an operating system which is actually faster than the virtualization, the virtual machines we're using. But these ones are actually different in the sense that they actually run, they orchestrate their code in a container. So in containers, it's faster than the virtual machines, and they don't have operating system that are hard to load, rather than in virtual machines that have operating system installed that are hard to load. So there are more better way of computing than virtual machines. So next slide. So the serverless, that's the third one in cloud computing. So we have execution model where cloud servers runs on the servers. Serverless doesn't mean it's serverless completely like the word English stated. It basically means your stuff runs offline. Your stuff runs offline. That's what it basically means. So your machines run offline, and we have big organizations like Netflix use serverless to serve over 7 billion of videos online to 50 million, over 50 million plus customers across the globe. So it's actually very typically amazing to see what serverless things can do. So these are ways whereby you run your code in functions. So your code are being run in functions and you are being checked when your function is being triggered. So that's what makes serverless server makes amazing as well too. So next slide. So I have to be a bit faster. So we have cloud infrastructure providers like Amazon Web Providers, Microsoft Azure, Alibaba Cloud, Google Cloud, IBM Cloud, and Oracle Cloud, which are different ones that run IaaS and all those amazing infrastructures. Moving on. So Google Cloud Platform, which is actually an amazing platform for you to do a lot of things, a platform created by Google for you to have access to computing at a go with easiness, with high security, and at the same time, what makes Google Cloud Platform actually amazing? It means you are actually you can actually access your files. If you want to move it to another slide, I mean, another platform as well, maybe the Microsoft, there's flexibility in it, there's elasticity in it. If you're tired of Google Cloud Platform, you can actually move out there. And security is amazing. According to people who have used developers like us, you could actually know that Google Cloud Platform is an amazing platform that have you access to serverless, virtual machines, app engines, which Google have been building, which is one of the first Google infrastructures they started with, which is actually amazing. So these are things we have to try out when you actually go into cloud computing. It's like, so I have about 5 minutes more in my section. So this is the ecosystem in a brief, and we have the Google Maps, the Google Analytics, Google Search, and devices, and etc. That makes it more really amazing when you're actually going there. So moving on. So next slide. So in this Google Cloud Platform, you say it's been split into different aspects, which means in your IaaS, that's infrastructure as a service, you have IT ops, you have system ops, DevOps. It falls under the platform as a service. Even the same time with Kubernetes and containers fell between IaaS and PaaS, which makes it amazing. So at the same time, we have software as a service, which are normal platforms you use, like Gmails, your drives, your YouTube, and all that platforms, which are also makes it amazing. So this is just an API functions of how you could actually access Google Cloud Platform. And next slide. So I don't want to take more time on this. So this is the platform where you actually interact with Google Cloud Platform, and this is called Query Labs. Query Labs is actually an amazing platform where you can actually log into your Google Cloud Platform. When you have a registered email, you have your credits, and you could buy a credit or whatever you actually want to do. Then you could actually have different ways of interacting with Google Cloud Platform. We have the Google Cloud Platform Console, we have the Cloud Shell SDK, and we have the REST SB, and we have the Cloud Mobile. So the Google Cloud Platform Console is just the environment, just like a GUI where you are using, while the Cloud Shell and it's just the DOS environment whereby you can run your codes at the same time you could create in the GUI platform form. So this is the GCP console, and these examples of it. In the Cloud Shell, they're just like a DOS environment where you could run your codes and you could run your computing resources fast enough and whatever you need to do at a go. Yeah, so Cloud Mobile app is another thing you can use on your mobile machine, on your mobile phone, download it from the Play Store or App Store, Google Play Store or App Store, and you could actually manage your resources, manage your app engine, your billing, your project visualizations, and which is just at the go. So GCP is actually global, and is at the same time is automating. Like you could actually scale up, auto scaling, scale down, elasticity is serverless, security, high secured infrastructures. You can manage it yourself. There's some security level that's been managed with Google yourself, and you could actually be flexible to have access to your security at the same time too. So it's actually amazing. It's global. You can access it whatever you want. So Google Platform is an amazing platform which you could actually need it to try out. So dive into GCP. So you're driving into GCP and you're talking about the compute engine. So the compute engine, why I told you is virtualization, that is the virtual machines. The Kubernetes, that's the container, other client computing, the containers, just like the Docker, one of the most popular open source function to use in actually in containers. So on the app engine, so we also fell on the serverless, and cloud functions also fell on the serverless functions, and which actually makes it amazing. So next slide. So compute engine is the same thing as virtual machines that I explained earlier on. So you could actually have access a platform whereby you have total access to your configurations, your machines, your OS, your CPUs, your storage, your RAM size, just like you have on your computer devices. So you configure it yourself. So you have all platforms to yourself on virtual machines. While on Kubernetes fell between IaaS, both function of IaaS and PaaS, while some call it container as a service at the same time. Next slide. So it's under container. It's actually being available. Next slide. So compute engine, for those who prefer to manage their own servers on their own, containers is just a way for you to orchestrate your code. While app engine is cloud functions is completely going serverless environment. Function as a service, you can execute your code in response to events according to the number of times, and you are being charged according to that number of time. Next slide. So computing options, I've talked about this. Next slide. So this is the hybrid form of how the whole thing running. Next slide. So this is just the life cycle of VM. You can check it later how it moves from the virtual machine CPU configuration to the app engine to the shutdown. The life cycle, you can check in when I share my slide later on. 2 minutes more. Okay. Next slide. Next slide. Next slide. Next slide. Okay, those are storage of the how you can change the next slide. So you could go through those things on your own and see next slide how it works. So RDP client works when you're configuring your Windows, your Microsoft Windows with Google Cloud platforms, or where if you don't want to use virtual machines, I mean Linux or operating systems. So Google Kubernetes is a container orchestrated and orchestrator, and it needs the container to run, and it's faster than virtual machines. Antos enables you to run Kubernetes clusters anywhere in both cloud and on-premise environments as well. So next slide. So Kubernetes leverages simplicity as a platform, and it's actually amazing. So you can see difference between Docker at the same time. Next slide. So you could see difference between Kubernetes versus Docker. You can check it in my slides. They are almost the same thing, but they run on different platforms. Next slide. So serverless function, I've talked about this. Next slide. You run your code on a server and you're good to go. It can also be known as function as a server at the same time. Next slide. So App Engine and serverless almost similar together. So storage, next slide. So you have storage platforms whereby you could actually see your MySQL, NoSQL, you have your cloud, you have your spanner, you have so much things that you can do under Google Cloud Platform. A minute more, next slide. Okay, to the future, it's shooting the DevOps. You could actually start beginning. You can reach out to me via shoot out a DM to me on Twitter or on other platforms to know where you actually get started from in the future. And you could check me out on provide.misfit.com. You can push or wire an email to me for giveaways on slick@misfit.com at the same time. So it's glad to have everyone here, and you can see additional resources on these platforms. Imagination is more important than your knowledge. So thank you, and thanks for having me.